Listen carefully, because this is one of those truths people only understand after they've already fallen apart. Panic doesn't start when the lights go out. Panic starts the moment your brain realizes nobody is coming to fix it. There's this quiet second, right after the power dies, where your mind does the math faster than any generator can roar to life. You notice the stillness. The hum of the fridge vanishes. The air gets heavier. And that tiny ancient part of your brain that kept your ancestors alive goes, something is wrong. And you're not prepared. That's the spark. That's the moment people snap during a blackout, long before the real danger even shows up. And the crazy part? Most people think they're immune to it, right until they're standing in the dark, realizing they can't even remember where they put a flashlight. Here's the first thing nobody tells you: your brain is addicted to predictability. It's wired to expect tiny micro confirmations every second. The whir of appliances, the glow under a door, the streetlight leaking through the blinds. When those vanish all at once, your nervous system flips a switch called sensory threat mode. Your heart rate spikes because your brain thinks predators use darkness as their home turf. And before you laugh that off, consider how fast your thoughts start sprinting the moment you hear an unexplained sound in a pitch black room. This is why panic rises even when the situation is still technically safe. The darkness itself hijacks your perception. You feel watched. You feel exposed. You feel like everything fragile in your life, your routines, your tech, your comfort, just evaporated. The fear is biological, not logical. The next layer is even more dangerous. Humans lose their sense of control faster than power grids do. Once the lights go out, people suddenly realize how few skills they actually have that don't involve screens. And the moment you feel helpless, you start making bad decisions, fast decisions, because the brain prefers the illusion of action over the discomfort of uncertainty. That's why during real blackouts, hospitals see spikes in injuries from people tripping, falling, using candles wrong, or trying to improvise solutions that only work in disaster movies. If you want to stay calm, you need one simple trick most survival manuals skip: rehearse the blackout scenario before it happens. Not mentally, physically. Walk your home in the dark. Know where your gear is by touch. Train your brain to treat darkness as familiar terrain rather than a threat. Familiarity kills fear. This section is based on practical field survival experience rather than formal academic sources. Another reason panic spreads so quickly during blackouts is because your social instincts collapse with your lighting. Humans are pack animals, and we constantly scan the behavior of others to estimate danger. In a blackout, the cues get scrambled. You hear shouting 2 streets away, and your brain assumes it's about you. You see neighbors looking confused and assume things are worse than they actually are. You hear one generator shutting off and imagine fuel shortages. Panic is contagious because uncertainty is contagious. The survival strategy here is counterintuitive but life-saving. Limit your information diet to signals you can confirm directly. That means ignoring rumors, ignoring speculation, and focusing only on observable facts. Your supplies, your shelter, your people. This stabilizes your internal narrative and prevents emotional spiraling. Military teams use this same principle in low visibility operations. Control the story inside your head so it doesn't get rewritten by fear. Now, here's where it gets interesting. When the lights stay off longer than expected, the human mind begins to drift into catastrophic projection. You start imagining worst case scenarios, not because you're dramatic, but because your brain is trying to fill in missing data to keep you alive. In evolutionary terms, assuming danger kept people from becoming tiger snacks. But in a modern blackout, catastrophic projection can make you do something stupid, like rushing out into the night looking for answers. The way to interrupt this instinct is through grounding routines, tasks that provide micro-control. Boil water. Inventory supplies. Do a slow sweep of your home. These small actions send a message to your brain: we are in control. We are not prey. It sounds simple, but it's powerful enough that survival instructors use it to keep groups stable during wilderness rescues. Another overlooked trigger of panic is the sudden silence. Most people don't realize how loud the world is until it stops. Without refrigerators, AC units, traffic, or distant electronics, you're left with an acoustic vacuum that amplifies every tiny noise. A branch falls outside and you interpret it as a person. Pipes settle and you think someone's in the house. Humans naturally overdetect threats in silence, which is why your anxiety skyrockets. One reliable countermeasure is to create a controlled sound environment. A hand crank radio, gentle white noise, even the sound of your own breathing becomes a stabilizer. It isn't about blocking danger. It's about stopping your brain from inventing it. This section is based on practical field survival experience rather than formal academic sources. But the most fascinating reason people snap during blackouts isn't fear. It's identity collapse. People don't realize how much of their competence, independence, and confidence depends on infrastructure. When the grid fails, you're suddenly stripped of every shortcut you rely on. A blackout forces you to face the parts of yourself you've outsourced to technology: navigation, communication, organization, even boredom management. That emotional whiplash can make someone who seems calm on the outside crumble internally. The fix: build a self sustaining identity, one that isn't dependent on external systems. Learn analog skills: fire making, manual navigation, water purification, improvised lighting. When you teach your brain that you can generate your own solutions, panic loses its teeth. And finally, the most powerful insight of all: panic thrives in loneliness. When people feel isolated in darkness, their threat responses spike dramatically. Even a single human voice, friend, family member, neighbor, reduces stress hormones, stabilizes breathing, and restores rational thinking. Connecting with others during a blackout isn't just emotionally comforting, it's biologically stabilizing. You don't need a full community, you just need a single point of trust. That alone can prevent someone from spiraling into fear driven decisions that get them injured or worse. So, why do people snap during blackouts? Because darkness removes the illusions we live under every day: the illusion of safety, the illusion of control, the illusion of constant connection. But once you understand the psychology behind it, and once you train your instincts instead of letting them run wild, you become the type of person who doesn't just survive the blackout, you anchor everyone around you.